Whether players like it or not, it's nearly impossible to win every single fight inside the octagon of EA Sports UFC 3 with only punches and kicks. There are going to be times when the ground game will be your best friend, but not everyone is a pro at taking control on the canvas and making opponents tap out. That's where we at Sports Gamers Online come in. We want to help you become the best you can possibly be at making those who dare challenge you give up. First things first, how does the submission system work? If you've played EA Sports UFC 2, then you know exactly what to do as it's the same system. However, if this is your first foray into the EA Sports UFC world, then you may want to pay attention. While on the ground, you'll want to hold down either L2 or left trigger depending on your system. This will bring up the submissions you can attempt depending on your position. Different fighters can attempt different submissions at different positions, so just always remember that when trying to make your opponent tap. When a submission is started, 4 quadrants will appear on screen. As you attempt to make your opponent submit, you'll notice the 4 spaces start to fill with the color of the corner of your opponent. This is their escape attempt. As you see them move to the various sides, you'll want to match using the right stick. This will block the attempt of that quadrant, forcing the opponent to try elsewhere. While blocking, you'll see a left stick prompt appear. When it shows up, you'll want to quickly match that direction in order to advance the attempt. Failing to move the stick in the correct position will lead to an escape, but with each advance, you'll notice the break walls move back towards the middle, making it more difficult for your opponent to escape the further along in the attempt that you are. So, you know how the system works, but what are the best ways to attack when trying to make someone tap out? Unlike submission defense, where you only have to worry about utilizing the right stick to escape, you need to make sure you're paying attention at all times for the prompt to advance the submission. Missing that is a guarantee that you won't succeed. But that's the obvious part of the minigame. There's much more to it than just timing or stick pushes. The first thing you need to understand is your positioning on the canvas and what submissions are available to you. If you find yourself in a position where you can't perform a submission attempt, you need to get to a proper spot without draining your stamina. And this all comes down to who your fighter is. The less you have to move on the canvas, the better your chances are of making someone tap. Next, you need to pay attention to the meter that sits in the upper middle portion of your screen. This shows who currently holds the grapple advantage. Things like strikes and transition blocks will help give you the advantage, making it easier to perform your transitions and submissions. And though getting the grapple advantage will certainly help, it's more important to keep your opponent from getting the advantage. If the meter stays neutral, that's just fine. Just don't let them gain the upper hand. But how do you do that? It's quite simple actually. Don't be predictable. When you're on the ground, especially with someone who may be more experienced in the situation, don't just start trying to transition all willy-nilly. Take a moment to wait and then begin your transition. Your opponent will expect you to move right away, giving them a better opportunity to deny you. By making them wait and think about your move, you give yourself a much better chance of quickly and successfully progressing. Moving on to the most overlooked part of submission offense, let's talk stamina. Performing takedowns and transitioning while on the mat will drain your stamina bar down, giving you little to work with when going for a submission. In order to properly achieve your goal, you're going to need to make sure that you have enough in your meter when you begin your attempt. The more you have, the quicker the advanced prompts will appear. If you try and perform a submission, especially a 4 or 5 step move with low stamina, you're going to find your opponent breaking out of it quite easily. Now, even with taking everything into account, you're not going to go out with someone with little grappling ability like a Mark Hunt and expect to make everyone in your path tap out. But by making sure you have energy and are in the best position to quickly get into an attempt, you'll set yourself up nicely to make those who go against you give up. So let us know, sports gamers, how well you fared in the octagon, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at SportsGamersOn and subscribe to Sports Gamers Online for more great UFC 3 content.
That's it! That's it! He set up the submission and locked it in for the tap. Excellent job.